What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Fiora versus video. In today's video, we're going to be going against Aatrox in the top lane, who's running Ignite. He also has Conquer, and we have Teleport and Ignite. I'm going to be putting my runes on the page right now so you can see what I'm taking into this fight. I like to take Demolish into matchups that I'm pretty confident that I'm going to win. It allows me to push the lane a little bit further, and it allows me to push my lead a little bit further whenever I can kill that champion. So you can see that I'm going pretty aggressive here, level 1. You can play somewhat aggressive if you know how to play around the vitals. Aatrox does not have his dash level 1. He always will start his Q. So if you just know how to dodge his Qs early and use the movement speed from the vitals, you can easily dodge them. And you can look to take advantage of fighting Aatrox. Now, he does have Ignite, so that's something you want to keep in mind, is that he's going to have a little bit more kill pressure than you will. But again, if you don't ever drop your HP too low, you can take advantage of that. Here, I'm getting a little bit greedy, but I'm still playing very aggressive, not really letting him have any time to fight back. Me having such a big wave allows me to engage in these fights, because if he ever follows me back, he's going to be attacked by those waves, by those minions. Now, this is very important. I shoved wave 3. Wave 3 is that cannon wave. And now I'm looking to rotate into the enemy jungle here because I know that Lee Sin started bot side. So that way I can kind of bother him and look to kill him. His red buff was pretty low, so I actually went to steal it. And I'm just going after him at this point. I'm holding my flash. I made sure not to use my Q over the wall. Or I made sure not to use my Q when I was on the other side of the wall because I knew he would have leap and or flash. So I held it. Once he leaped over, I just queued over, and then he didn't use his flash because if he did, I would just use mine, and he would die either way. So we killed the Lee Sin there. The reason that it's good to make that roam is because I know that I can kill Lee Sin in the early levels. Fiora is a really good champion into almost all enemy junglers. So if you can get early prio to push level 3, it's a good idea to do so. The only reason I'm fighting him here, even though this wave is huge, is because I have red buff. Realistically, that wave there and then also me not hitting those vitals was very, very sloppy, but I knew that I did have a pretty big window for me to make mistakes and still succeed. So I ended up doing that, and then I'm just going to back here because I have a ton of gold on me, and then just teleport back to lane because this wave is so huge. Again, because of the TP nerfs, I'm able to make this teleport. There's no reason for me really to hold it. I don't think I'm going to be dying at any time soon unless I make a huge mistake, so I don't need teleport to TP back to lane once I'm dead. Not to mention, you also get the increased movement speed once you die, so... that's that. Now again, Aatrox here is thinking he has a huge wave, so he should win this, but I land my repost on his stun. He messed up because he positioned himself up against the wall. He also had flash available, so even if he flashed, I'm pretty sure I still end up killing there. But yeah, he was just playing a little bit aggressive, and he's probably tilted at this point. This matchup, for the most part, now that there's some time as I'm clearing this wave here, this matchup, for the most part, is Fiora favored. Even though Aatrox has gotten his buffs, it is favored for Fiora. So just play around your repost, play around the sweep spots, and you should be fine. Here, I made a misplay by reposting, but with our lead, we are still able to get the kill, even though that Echo used Ignite on us. I just had to use my flash. Because I played it poorly with that repost. I had thought he was going to be there, when in reality, I probably should have just walked down into the bush. But either way, it works for us. And this is kind of like one of the most important parts of playing Fiora, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand this. The point of playing Fiora is to kind of be a nuisance. You want the mid laner, the enemy mid laner, and you want the enemy jungle to rotate to you, and you want to try and kill them, or at least not die to them. You want to be able to create pressure that makes it so that way not only your laner has to deal with you, but the whole enemy team has to deal with you. And Fiora is really, really good at this at almost all stages of the game. Yes, she scales, but also, like you saw, she's really strong level 3. You saw me roam into ganking Lee Sin. I think I was only level 2 because I pushed the 3rd wave. And I was still able to be an issue to Lee Sin, who is a really good early game jungler. So it's important to remember that You just kind of want to be a problem. You want to cause an issue for everyone. You want them to come and fight you, and then you can take advantage of the situation. Whenever you're thinking that Fiora sucks, just remember that you're the only champion that can negate literally any damage and turn it into a 2-second stun. So don't complain. I mean, and if you guys have tuned into my streams, you guys know that's all I do. Let's go. Twitch.tv/AnoyingBro5. Make sure to follow me so you know when I go live. Anyways, so right now we're just in lane. I took pretty poor trades there by getting hit by the Q sweet spot. I see that Hecarim is top, so I'm kind of looking for a gank here. I'm just walking a little bit out, trying to bait him to do something. I land the repost. Aatrox flashes here, which doesn't really make too much sense. I think, again, this guy's playing on tilt. He flash ulted. I don't think he realized he's not escaping me or Hecarim. And then he just ends up dying there. If I didn't land that repost and I didn't stun the Aatrox, I'm pretty sure he was going to die anyway because, again, I did have Hecarim topside, so this gank was going to happen no matter what. And this is where Demolish comes in. You could just see how much damage I get on the turret. Instead of getting just one plate, I'm able to get 2 plates here. And not only am I able to get 2 plates, but I'm also able to clear this next wave pretty fast because I don't have to spend that extra time attacking the turret to get that plate. And it allows me to also reset faster. So normally here in this scenario, Aatrox gets back as soon as I back here. Where in reality, if I didn't have Demolish, I wouldn't have gotten that second plate if I was clearing that wave. So I get extra gold here on this back, which is really nice. And Demolish I'm going to have for the rest of the game, so it's not like it's going to, you know, stop being effective. All right, so we just get back to the wave here. Since we shoved it to the turret, the wave is now returned back to us. We don't lose many minions in the process of that. Remember, you always want to back once you have pushed the wave to the turret, so that way you lessen the amount of minions that you miss. Now, Aatrox is not here, so I'm just going to fast push it because I want to create agency on the map. I want to force him to come back to this lane. And at times like this, when you have a huge lead, like right now I have 5 kills, I have a huge item advantage on him. A lot of the times they're going to roam and they're going to try and like take their junglers' camps. They're going to try and roam mid. They're going to try and do something elsewhere on the map because there's no way that they're winning in your lane. If that's the case, again, just shove your wave so that way you force them to come back. You force them to come and do something. Since Aatrox is playing very, very passive here, I'm looking to do something else. I'm looking to go mid. I'm looking to invade the jungle. Just because Aatrox is playing very safe and he's not really doing anything. So here we could see that he was hiding in that bush. He was probably clearing his jungler's Krugs. I could have responded probably sooner to help the Hecarim here, but it ends up working out. And now, again, we're causing such an issue that all of these people are having to respond. We have Lee Sin, we have Tom Kench, we have Echo. The important thing is that you have to know how to play these team fights properly. So, again, I'm causing an issue. They know that there's a lot going on top. And I'm just playing it correctly by maneuvering back in between each vital. And that's the important thing about playing Fiora. Play for your cooldowns and play for your vitals. So if you guys want, if that was a lot, you guys can go back into this video. Just go back a couple 30 seconds or so, and I want you to look at how I'm walking to the next vital. I'm walking between vitals between different opponents as well, because when I attack one vital on one champion, so say there's 3 champions, if I hit the vital on champion 1, there's still 2 active vitals on champion 2 and champion 3. So I can hit one of those vitals while the next vital on champion 1 is repopulating. So that's kind of how you want to play team fights. You want to play, obviously, targeting the champion that you want to kill. If you can kill that champion immediately, go for it. But if you need to stall it out a little bit for some cooldowns, so that fight I was playing around my Gore Drinker cooldown, and as well as my repost and all the others, just bounce around between the vitals. I was stalling for Vigar. I needed some extra time. I needed my Gore Drinker cooldown so that way I can heal up. So bounce between the champions so that way you stall it out, and also deal true damage to those champions as you're doing it. All right? And make sure to use that movement speed in order to get to that next vital when it appears. So at this point, I just shove the wave. Again, I shove the wave. We can see Aatrox responds by going top, which is exactly what I want. I want Aatrox to be stuck in that lane. And now that I push that wave, I can roam here to see where Echo is. Now I make a mistake here. So I'm standing in his bubble because I want him to stun me. Right now I have Q up, and I just Q to him to try and hit that vital. He lives at 1 HP. Realistically, I should have done what I did earlier, which is when Lee Sin was threatening to hop over the wall, I held my Q so I could use my Q to hop over the wall. In that instance there was no reason for me to Q on the exact same side when Echo jumped over the wall. I should have held my Q and then used it to follow him back over. Either way, it didn't matter. There was no way he was going to escape. I got a little bit cocky, as one does. So we just go back to our lane. We didn't lose many CS. We have a pretty big CS advantage on Aatrox, as well as creating a lot of pressure around the map. And we're just going to use our Demolish here, take as much damage, or do as much damage as possible. And since I have double buffs here, I just want to take this top side. We see that they're trying to play for bot side, or the dragon is up. We're aware of everything that's happening there. I don't have TP, and I'm already too late to make an impact there, so the only thing for me to do is to just take this turret. Aatrox is threatening me here by, like, staying, so I'm just going to go straight for him. I have the slow buff on my red. The other thing there that I want to point out is that we saw Aatrox go up and to the left. There was no reason for me to use my Q there either, because he's already in... He already went back away from his turret. So I held my Q, and then once he flashed, because his motion was kind of letting him know that he was going to preemptively flash, I then used my Q to match him so I don't have to waste my flash, or I don't have to expend using my repost to try and catch him. So it's just things like that, understanding movement. Fiora is very big on movement, and that's why Stridebreaker is also a really good item on her. Stridebreaker is really good because it, one, gives you the increased movement speed, but it also slows the opponent down when you use the active. This game, I chose to go Gore Drinker over Stridebreaker, which in most scenarios, you do want to go Gore Drinker over Stridebreaker. But the main reason I went Gore Drinker was because my team doesn't necessarily have that strong of a front line. We have Hecarim, but I wouldn't necessarily call him a frontliner. But the other reason is that the enemy team isn't the most mobile. There's Echo with 1 dash. There's Lee Sin, who has his W and his Q. Jinx isn't that fast unless she uses her passive. And then Tahm Kench is just tanky, but can stall out a fight. So with that being said, there's no reason for me to get Stridebreaker to try and catch up with somebody who's really, really fast. Like if they had, say, a Tryndamere top, Hecarim jungle, you know, LeBlanc mid, like all of those things, you don't really need that extra movement speed to try and catch or slow down. So Gore Drinker defaults to being the best mythic for this match. So now I'm just resetting and I'm going back top. The reason I'm going top here is that I'm looking to push the top side and then look for Herald. Realistically, you would want your bot lane to be going top side where the objective is. You would want as many numbers as possible, and then the person with TP to be on the opposite side. But my bot lane was already pushed out really, really far, so I'm just going to use my lead just to get this Herald myself. The reason I can do this is because nobody can 1v1 me at this point. I'm looking at everything on the map. I see Aatrox is top. I see Jinx's bot. I see Echo is mid. So that just means that the Tahm Kench or the Lee Sin can match. The Tahm Kench or Lee Sin could fight and come and contest me, but they're not going to win. As we saw earlier, I've become such an issue at this point. I haven't really made too many mistakes. So we're just able to push our lead. We're able to take this objective by ourselves. And then, again, we're just going back to the top so that way we can get that CS. Now, it's important to show you here, if you guys aren't sure what wave management is like or how to do wave management, the important thing to note is that every single time I leave lane, I'm immediately going back to lane right before it gets to my turret. So I push the wave out, I do what I have to do, and then I return right when the wave is about to hit my turret. That's the best way to optimize your CS while also creating an impact. And that's the best way to get gold into yourself. So here I have Herald. I back and I'm going bot side. Main reason being, not only because this fight is going on, but that there are turrets here. If I got here and the fight was still going on, that'd be awesome. Realistically, the fight was starting before I even backed on the top side with Herald. So I knew I wasn't going to get here to this fight. The main reason is because of the turrets. I took all of topside turrets. I have Herald. I want the bot side turrets now. So I'm just waiting here. I'm going to see if anything happens. I have Hecarim with Yuumi shadowing me, which is really, really nice. And I'm just going to take this turret. Now, the important thing is I'm not dropping Herald. Again, I have Demolish. Also, as Fiora, with your Qs and your Es, you take turrets insanely fast. So I'm just holding Herald. There's no reason for me to use it because then that means I have to babysit it to hit the tier 2 turret. So I'm just going to hold on to it. Again, there's no main reason for me to use it right now. We see Jinx is here, so we look to dive. I QW thinking that she was going to go further, or she was going to walk in the other direction, but the fear kicked her down. Either way, I was on the other side of her, so there was nowhere for her to escape, which you saw when she flashed. And right now, I'm just chilling here because I'm thinking about what I can do next. I do have my ultimate, so I could kill this this Echo, but I decided just to drop the Herald because I can take that turret really, really fast, even if they're underneath it once Herald hits, which is what I do. Now, at this point, I landed my repost a little bit off. I should have held my repost, but I thought Lee Sin was going to ult me around that time once I was on top of them, but he did not. So we got the tier 2 turret. Now I'm just going to reset at this point, and spend all the gold that I got, which is a ton. And while I'm walking back to lane here, I'll talk a little bit more about the build that I chose to go. I chose to go Ravenous secondary, or I chose to go Ravenous second because I wanted a little bit more push power. Usually I'll go Ravenous or I'll go Essence Reaver. One of the two is usually the second item I'll go, which helps for pushing. Essence Reaver doesn't have the AoE to help push, but it gives you infinite mana, so that way you can push very, very fast by using your Q and your E. And then my third item is Death's Dance because they do have a decent amount of AD damage, and Death's Dance is really, really strong right now. Here, while we're getting into the fight, I'm just starting with Tahm Kench. I knew he was going to flash, so I preemptively used it. We knew Jinx doesn't have flash anymore because of the previous fight that we did. And I forced that fight just because Dragon was going to come up. I'm fine with wasting my flash to collapse and move forward into that fight there. Just so we can get the objective secured here. The other thing I want to point out is that I didn't target Jinx first. I targeted the Tahm Kench because my ultimate does % health true damage. So one thing that a lot of people don't recognize, or a lot of people forget, is that Fiora is a really good tank shredder. Your ultimate literally just negates all of their armor. It negates everything. So I didn't target the Jinx there because if I did, Tahm Kench could just eat her and then just hop away. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to immediately get rid of the variable that could get Jinx out of that fight. And again, we know Jinx doesn't have flash. We saw that she's building Kraken Slayer. She doesn't have another dash, and even if she did, she'd probably dash away up the wave, and then I'd be able to catch her with my Q cooldown at this point of the game. So these are just things that you kind of want to keep in mind, and you kind of, like, it's something that you get used to the more and more you play. But in that scenario there, it's fine to play front to back, go straight for the tank, because he was the only way that she would be able to escape. So at this point, I have my boots, I have Death's Dance, Ravenous, and Gore Drinker. The last item I was looking to build most likely was Steric's Gauge. I know a lot of people have been building Hullbreaker, but Hullbreaker is not that good of an item, especially when you have a lead. You already have a lead, you already can push that pressure. You're going to be in team fights no matter what. Although Fiora isn't amazing at team fights, you still are going to be a part of team fights. Otherwise, your team is just going to be outnumbered all the time. So it's just very important to just understand when to go Hullbreaker and when to go Steric's. Most cases, I go Steric's. At this point in the game, I'm putting pressure on the bot side. I don't want to show my face because I don't know where the enemy team is. So I'm taking the enemy camps while I'm also staying bot side. I see that the Tahm Kench is there. So I'm now showing my face here because Tahm Kench wouldn't show his face without the rest of his team. So I'm trying to apply pressure, see who can match me. I see the Aatrox is matching me. The Aatrox has Ignite, and he doesn't have Teleport. So it's pretty big when I see him on this side of the map. Now I see on the other side of the map, the enemy team is engaging, so I'm teleporting. And I'm going to teleport to this fight. And again, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did before. I'm going to see who I can get onto. I immediately got onto the Lee Sin. I ulted him to one-shot him. And then I'm going to chase down this Tahm Kench. And at this point of the game, there's no stopping me. I have a Yuumi. I have a full prio on the team. I could probably 1v5 at this time. And we go for Baron. All right, and now this is the point of the game where the enemy team actually surrenders. I just want to say, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also, subscribe. I want you guys to leave me down in the comments. How do you think about this, or what do you think about top lane in the current season? What are your opinions? Also, what are your opinions on Fiora this season? I'd love to see. That being said, guys, also have a Mobifier guide in the description, so please, if you can click that link, give it a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. Guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace.